I must say that in BPMN there is special kind of events like compensation events, which causes process flow to jump from one place in the process model to completely another, and such cases must be modeled accordingly. So, and just to illustrate how this mapping looks, how these transformation steps look, I made this slide. So, step number 1 is mapping between EPC elements and BPMN elements, and actually this mapping can be supplemented with other standards. Step number 2 is to create this unified elements, and these rules are defined for unified elements. And step number 3, MSM elements are mapped to unified elements. And the output result of transformation will be something like this. So a business process, this one is expressed in BPMN, will be transformed into a morphological structure model. And later this morphological structure model will be transformed into directed graph and analyzed by using structural qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. So, in the practical part, I used I4S system, which is developed by Jo Zeltmate, and I used this system to automate several population tasks like creation of adjacency matrices and distant matrices. And for testing purposes, I used 3 variants of a travel request business process. So, variant number 1 is a straightforward travel request process where all activities are executed by participants sequentially without loops. And if at some point travel request is rejected, business process simply ends. The variant number 2 is a simplified version of business process variant 1 where several tasks are aggregated into a sub-process. This is done just to check if structural analysis will show that variant 2 is less complex, and to check what will be the impact of to structural importance of elements. And variant number 3, it's a modified version of variant 1 where several loops are added, and it also contains new activities. And this was added because I wanted to check again the structural importance, what will be the impact to structural importance, and what the quantitative analysis will show. And the qualitative and quantitative analysis was performed both for morphological structure model and functional structure model in functional space. And results of qualitative analysis are as follows. So the most important activities are ask and check in all 3 variants. In variant number 3, there is also a prepared travel request, but this is new activity in that variant. Aggregation of activities in business process variant 2 didn't impact the structural importance of the most important activities. However, this aggregation of activities impacted the structural importance of activity executed just before this sub-process and right after this sub-process. And this is caused by the fact that the number of reachable components changed. Other results of qualitative analysis is that indicator dispersion of functional load on elements gave trustless result for business process variant number 2, so it increased, but in fact this you are still executing the same activities within this sub-process. So I guess for a sub-process, if the model includes sub-processes, then FND cannot be used. And in all 3 variants, the most important functions of FSM-FT are tied to the most important objects of MSM. And this actually is not mentioned in scientific literature, so that's why I added this here. So because it shows the relation between morphological structure model and functional structure model in functional space. So, and afterwards I performed quantitative analysis, and results are given in those 2 tables for morphological structure model and functional structure model in functional space. With the green, it is highlighted the best variant. Red is the variant which has all 3 values exactly the same, and with yellow 2 values are duplicated. So, as you see, complexity of structure for MSM cannot be used because basically the business process remains the same, so inputs, outputs, and paths remain the same for all three variants, and that caused this complexity of structure to have the same value in all three variants. Redundancy of links is redundancy of links is better for business process variant number 3, and it is caused by the fact that in this variant there is added loops and new functions, so it increases redundancy. And compactness of the structure and diameter, these are better for variant number 2, because these indicators are based on distances in the graph, and since in variant 2 there is significantly less tasks, these variants show the better values for those indicators. And degree of centralization is approximately the same for MSM objects, so probably it should not be taken into consideration. So, in conclusions of my work is that hypothesis was confirmed during this thesis. It is possible to apply structural modeling approach for analysis of business process modeling diagrams. Qualitative analysis can be used to determine the most important elements, and quantitative analysis can be used to choose between various business processes for implementation. EPC and BPMN standards are similar by elements that allow to create this universal mapping. It is easier to transform EPC models into BPMN models than BPMN models into EPC models, and that is caused by the fact that in EPC you can't have in models these go-to situations when process flow jumps from one place to another. BPMN model is more compactive compared to EPC model. This can be clearly seen in appendices because there is these models added. EPC and BPMN models can be transformed into MSM by applying a set of developed rules, and those indicators of qualitative and quantitative analysis should not be used as a single source of truth. And as we see with business process variant number 2, it is very easy to make wrong assumptions if all the facts regarding this business process are not taken into consideration. And for further research, I recommend to check the values of indicator dispersion of functional load on elements for structural variants of technical systems, since this indicator gave trustless results for business processes, so it must be checked. The second one is to check if structural modeling approach can be used to analyze BPMN conversation diagrams, which are new in BPMN version standard number 2. And probably this will show the most important participants in a business process. And the third is to check if models of business process execution language can be transformed into a functional model, functional structural model in functional space. This probably will allow to determine and analyze the faults in business process execution. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.